Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Shemal Shabbat Shem Dash. Real quick, this is a response to premarital and monogamy. The IUIC is most definitely teaching Christianity. Yeah, because they'll say, Christians will say this: if you have sex before marriage, that's a fornication. Well, when you look up fornication in the New Testament, the word in the Greek is the word is porneia, which means adultery. If you have sex with a woman that's currently dealing with a man, the man is still alive, of course, that's adultery, which in the New Testament is referred to as fornication. So fornication, come across the word fornication in the New Testament, it means adultery. It doesn't mean having sexual relations with a woman, a man having sexual relationships with a woman prior to marriage. When you have sex, a man has sex with a woman for the first time, she's having sex with the man, they become joined together. Now, there could be a ceremony behind it or not. In the case of Isaac and Rebecca, there was no ceremony. It was already discussed who she was going to get, and she didn't even know who she was going to get with. She didn't think that day that she was going to get grabbed off of a camel and pulled into a tent and raped. And she liked it too. You know, she had no problem because she was taught as a girl that you have limited rights. And your father's going to decide what man you're going to deal with. So you train that way. They showed you that in the movie Coming to America, the original one with Eddie Murphy. With the girl, whatever, what do you like to eat? Whatever you like. Well, that's they were giving you the idea of the role of a man and a woman. And the bonus is a man can have as many women as his heart desires. And a woman is trained to please her man. So this right here, man, I saw the title, and I mean I wasn't surprised. You know, anytime you see IUICs, never a dull moment with these guys. And recently, let me see, I was going to do a video on this, but I said I'm not going to talk too much about IUIC because we're always talking about them. But you know what? You give us reason to talk about you. But it's goddamn shit that you pull, man. Let me see if I got it up. Okay, this is it. So I gotta play this. Let me pull this over. Pull this over. The hell? All right, that's $75. More online. Okay, this is something else. Let me see here. I thought I had it. Okay, this is it right here. Let me for a minute. Okay, I mean, I can find it. So let's just come back to this. Yeah, uh, premarital sex is marriage. It's a confirmation. See, where did Joseph go off and rape and Mary? Because she didn't have to hide herself. She wasn't the one to be blamed because Joseph raped her. Because he raped her in the sense that he defied uh, the orders of Mary's father, Heli. Heli is mentioned in Luke chapter 3. So he tried to hide her, said put her away privately. He tried to hide her, not make her. Like I said, It does. I don't have the history on it, but in the ancient world, you had houses with Israel, and you had Joseph was very well to do. That's why Heli gave, his daughter to Joseph, because he was very well to do and he was much older than Mary. Doesn't tell you the ages. He was already established. See, Yahushua came out of a well-to-do household. He would be considered middle class, upper middle class. He was a very well-to-do. He came out of a very well-to-do house where his father had the house already. And you had what's called a guest house. I said this previously, and you had your guests stay in a guest house. I'm just speculating, but that's what probably would happen. He had her in the guest house, but he had them feelings, and he couldn't hold it. And her mindset was, whatever you like. What kind of food do you like? You like food? Yes. What kind of food? Whatever you like. Hey, so when Joseph said, I'm gonna do this to you, she said, whatever you like. Just keep that in mind. Like I said, you Negroes been in America too goddamn long. And you're mixing the values, which are not even values, of America with the ancient customs of Israel. That's your problem. You've been in America too goddamn long. And what they're suggesting at IUIC is that if you have one wife and you have another wife, that you are committing adultery or fornication, which is not the case. You can have 10 wives. Some brother in GMS got 10 wives. Well, that's his business. You know what I'm saying? That's his business. He can have 2 or 3 wives. Now, if he commits adultery with another brother's wife or anybody's wife, that's a law unto death. So this nonsense that they're teaching is straight up, out of control, out of pocket. So let's listen.
Victim to having premarital sex. And then they bring shame to our house and things of that nature. We have to make sure we teach them guys.
Okay, so that means that Joseph brought shame to the house of Heli. Then why did Heli allow his daughter to stay with Joseph? If he statutorily raped her, whether she liked it or not, that was rape, because that's why the blame was on him. He said, "Let me hide this woman, so that belly don't show." You got to put a picture in your mind, and see what they do in IUIC. They're indoctrinating these people. Teach it this way. We taught you, when you read the scripture, it means that. It don't mean nothing else. Don't put your opinion in it. Just memorize it and regurgitate it to the people.
Our responsibility as a parent. This is our job to teach our children this. That they don't take a sister, or a sister don't allow herself to be taken by a young man for lust, because they attract.
And I believe, and that's true. That is true, because it could be a lustful thing, and a guy moves on. Hit it and quit it. So you do have to. Well, that's what Heli did. And you're right on that. It should be that way. That's how it's going to be in the kingdom. But if you do it, it's not a wickedness. It's a sin to the Father.
To each other. No, we have to teach our children. No, that's going to destroy your life. That's going to cause us, for the young sisters, it's going to cause you great emotional damage.
Now listen to what this dude guy is going to say. I couldn't believe it my damn self. So if you have premarital sex, a young man has premarital sex with a young woman. They love each other. They have children and they grow up together, but the woman has mental issues now. What kind of fucking madness is that? Let's listen to that again.
No, we have to teach our children. No, that's not that's gonna destroy your life. That's gonna
Doesn't necessarily destroy your life if they stay together. Hey, did Isaac and Rebecca, they stayed together. The first time Isaac laid his eyes on Rebecca, and Rebecca saw him. Who is that, sir? Oh, this is my master's son. That's your husband. That's your husband. And he went. You can read it. And he went and pulled her off the camel. She put a veil over her face. He pulled her off the camel, put her in a tent, and popped her. And they've been together ever since. She didn't ever had no issues. And like in the scriptures, that oftentimes Rebecca had reservations about having that sexual encounter with Isaac. And she was somewhat troubled. She was psychologically fucked up in the head. What kind of bullshit is that? This is cultic activity.
Going to destroy. That's going to cause us, for the young sisters. It's going to cause you great emotional damage. Even if it's a case of it happens and you end up marrying that brother, it's still going to cause emotional damage.
So you have sex with the man, the boy, young man, young girl young woman have sex. It's she consents to it, you know. But they love each other. You know, what do you call it? You got high school sweethearts, you got soulmates, they call it. And they just love each other, right? Like Robin Givens said about Mike Tyson, we just sort of love each other. Yeah, right. They get married, they have kids, they're happy. But you know, in the midnight hour, nobody's around. She's thinking about what she did 40 years ago. What kind of, this is blasphemy. This is madness. This is cultic activity.
It's because it was done the wrong way. That's even if it's a case of it happens and you end up marrying that brother, it's still gonna cause emotional damage because it was done the wrong way. That's a judgment. It was done the wrong way, so it's gonna be a level of emotional damage that occurs because it wasn't done right. Be one flesh. That's the bond that article is talking about. They shall be one flesh. From the beginning, it's a man and his wife, not a man and his wives, a man and his girlfriends, his wife.
Now, that's showing you right there that these guys are not following the scriptures, and they're taking away and adding to the scriptures. He said, not a man and his wives. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why did David, when he committed adultery with Bathsheba, why did the Most High say, I gave you your master's everything from your master, meaning Saul. In other words, he got the kingship. And he said, I gave you his wives. In other words, one of David's wives was Saul's daughter. And he said that, and if you would have asked for, I'm merely paraphrasing, I read it the other day, if you would have asked for such and such, I would have given it to you. Meaning, why'd you have to go commit adultery with this girl? If you wanted more women, I would have gave you more women. If you wanted more women that look as fine as she, I would have gave you women that's finer than Bathsheba. So that's what he said. So this guy is saying, not wives. Well, if Most High said, if you wanted wives, I'll give you wives. And in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to have many wives. So is it a sin on this side, but it's not a sin in the kingdom? Oh, brother, you want to have more than one wife? You got to wait for the kingdom. If you do it on this side, it's a sin. That's clearly not scriptural, man. That's clearly not scriptural. 7 women shall take hold of one man. The number 7 represents a completion. Some men are going to have 1,000 women. Isaiah 60. A little one shall become a thousand, and a small one a great nation, meaning one insignificant Israelite man is going to have a nation of children. And why is that? Because he's going to have multiple wives. And that Isaiah chapter 4 is going to happen on this side, before the kingdom. How do we know that? It says that the woman shall say, we will eat our own food and wear our own clothes, meaning we're going to work for us. That's not going to happen in the kingdom, because ain't no Israelite woman going to be working in the kingdom. Only take away our reproach. What does that mean? When a woman gets a man and a man impregnates a woman, then her reproach is taken away. That's in, I believe that's Luke 2 with Elizabeth, the wife who's of I believe he's Zacharias. Is Zacharias, the priest Zacharias, the father of John the Baptist. When she was pregnant, they were up in age. When she was pregnant, became pregnant with John the Baptist, that's when she said that this man took away my reproach. I got a name from this man. I got a baby from this man. So my reproach was taken away. Look up the word reproach in the Greek. Look up the word reproach in the Hebrew. I mean, these guys are clearly going off. You can have more than one wife. It's not a sin to have more than one wife, dealing with the laws that's in the scriptures, whether it be in the Old Testament or the New Testament. Anyway, let me let you hear a little bit more. I don't know. I didn't hear the rest of this.
I wonder, did Isaac cause emotional damage to Rebecca? Or better yet, did Joseph cause emotional damage to Mary?
Now you see what the elder just said? He said exactly, he brought out the two examples that I just brought out. Isaac and Rebecca, and Joseph and Mary.
I'm gonna start by giving all the praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Ruchakodash. God wants to the elder apostles and bishops of the great Muslim that read well, peace, blessings, and salutations. To those who elect tabernacle of David scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. This title couldn't be any more fitting. The IUIC can't get any more Christian. So what's next? Because we already know y'all teach hell. You're now teaching monogamy when you know full well that it was custom, all right, to either have one wife or you can have multiple helpers. So I wonder, what emotional damage was caused when these men got with these women. I know what was emotional for the women was if they couldn't have children. If their womb wasn't working and they were bearing, that was the emotional damage. But a man actually laying with her without this marriage contract, that you got to go to the state and sign. That wasn't customary. We didn't make a pact with the state to be officially married.
That's right. I want to speak on that too. they said that you got to they use Tobit about paperwork. Everything you do, you got to get paperwork on it. So you got to go down to the authorities, the state, city, the judge, and he signs off on the marriage. Now, I'm in my this is in my within my family, immediate example. I'm not gonna go into the people because you don't know my family anyway, but the situation where a man wants to marry a woman. This is a family matter, true story. So you're talking about getting married. They said we're gonna get married at the end of the year. So he goes to get the application from the state. And what pops up is a marriage that he had many years ago that they said, well, you still married to this woman. So you got to disannul that marriage or get officially divorced. See, when you get married under this man, you can't do nothing unless you get officially divorced. You got to go to the man to ask for a separation. So he's looking for the woman to get the divorce. So he don't know if she left the country, if she's dead. They don't know where she's at. She don't know if they don't know if she got beamed up by a space, whatever the case may be. Whether she legally changed her name, but the authorities can't find her. So therefore, he can't marry this woman. He can't legally marry this woman. So what is he going to do? Walk down go about his business? You know? You're going to deal with the woman any damn way. So if you got somebody that's in the IUIC that had a woman that passed before they came in the truth and they want to get with them, what separation happened, or the woman don't want to separate. She don't want to divorce. She want to hold it up in court for the next 10 years. You got kids by this woman. So you meet a sister in IUIC, you want to get with that woman? Well, you got to tell her, well, I got to wait until this divorce is finalized, but she's giving me a hard time. She said she's going to hold it as long as she can, that we don't get divorced. So let's say 2-3 years go by. What is that sister going to do? She's going to get with another brother that don't have a previous wife. You know, these individuals, the IUIC, are setting up these people for a fall. And it's coming off as occultist. I mean, not occultist, but a cultish behavior. You can't say that about us. Anytime you got kids involved in a religious organization, women involved, men involved, normally when they get a cult is because of what they did to the kids or what they did to the woman, abusing the woman. So what you guys are doing, you got all these different kids and older women and younger women and men, and then you got human nature is you got guys that come into this thing that likes a particular girl, and they set this woman up to marry another brother, but this new brother comes in and she thinks that new brother's cuter than the brother she's gonna marry, so she really don't want to deal with this guy no more, but she made a commitment to the guy. So what might happen is adultery. There was a case with adultery with somebody high-ranking member in the IUIC that he supposedly committed adultery, supposedly, because I don't know the details of it. And he supposedly got kicked out for a year. Oh, that's another thing. If they commit adultery, Kevin from Florida said that. He used to be down with IUIC. He said there was a case of a guy that committed adultery with another brother's wife, and they kicked him out for a year. But the Day of Atonement, after the Day of Atonement, he said, I kept the Day of Atonement. Can I come back into school? They say, yeah, you kept the Day of Atonement, so you can come back into school. Now, I don't know where the man went that was dealt with you know, the fact that his woman dealt with another man and the truth, you think that man's gonna stick around with his woman sitting there? This is madness. This is confusion. Hey, the bigger the saying is the bigger they are, the harder they fall. They're gonna fall. IUIC is gonna fall hard, bro. They're gonna fall hard. And I'm not saying this out of hate or anything like that. But this is you know, this is a cult. This is a cult, man. This is some like Sun Young Moon shit. Sun Young Moon, that pumpkinhead gook, he was telling people, okay, you're gonna marry him, and he's gonna marry you. And you had to marry the motherfucker that they chose for you. They chose a woman for you. You might not like, you might can't stand that woman, but you got to marry that woman because Sun Young Moon said so. Let's listen to a little bit more.
We went to the father and we conducted business. Then the parents would set out a wedding feast after you paid the father the dowry. Then they would go into the marriage chamber after and consummate it, and that's when they became officially one flesh. But if you bypass that process and you just happen to lay with that woman and she's a virgin, y'all still officially become one flesh. What is this guy talking about, man? What's next, man? Are y'all gonna start teaching that Mary and Joseph really never did it? That it really was, in fact, a virgin birth? Because that's probably what's coming next, man. And this is how Nate and his organization is able to, you know, teach and have this big following and make all this money and still keep that tax exempt statute, 501c3, because their doctrine is world friendly. People right out of the Christian church feel right at home with this organization because they're teaching what they already been listening to in the Christian church. And they know that a lot of these women will more feel comfortable as well. Of course, the westernized mindset that these women developed here in the West, you teach them that they're only supposed to be, a man is only supposed to have her and her only. Well, she grew up already knowing that because the Christian church taught her that. So no wonder why a lot of these, you know, you have a big following, especially from a lot of these women. You're going off. I'm sure Isaac did not cause emotional damage on Rebecca when he took her in at 10. That was a successful marriage.
Yeah, it was love at first sight. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom. On to the next one.